to be taking a look at my top Azure standard staples, as well as doing some price comparisons with some major retailers. I've only been on my Azure standard journey for about a year, and I remember it being so overwhelming. I would watch YouTube videos watching people do hauls, and everything looked really good, but you know, $900 shopping trips was just not something that I wanted to put in the budget. So I spent a lot of time doing cost comparison to see where I'm getting the best value with Azure. And after a year, I'm really confident in these staples that I've bought time and time again, and I'm always reaching for from my shelves, if you can't tell by this well-loved molasses. So we're going to dig into, I think I have 13 staples here that I recommend, and I'm going to show you the cost comparison between Azure Standard, Sam's Club, somewhere I shop a lot, Aldi, Walmart, Amazon, and our regional grocer, Giant Eagle. So let's get started. First is this balsamic vinegar. I have a kind of a glass bottle that I keep my vinegars and my oils in, so they're readily available, but I buy it in this big jugs. This comes out to 27 cents an ounce, which is cheaper than any of the competition for this organic balsamic. I use this a lot for cooking as well as salad dressings. It's so nice to have on hand, definitely cheaper than buying salad dressings, and I really enjoy that it's like a whole ingredient and I'm able to make my own salad dressings without having all those extra added ingredients and chemicals. Next up, this is the only thing on the list where Azure doesn't beat out in terms of price, but it is so good, so it beats everything in terms of value and quality. But this is butter. We buy it in these blocks. How big are these blocks? These are half pounds. I think I usually buy about 10 of them at a time. They have salted and unsalted, but not only is organic butter, but it is from grass-fed cows. It is so delicious, so creamy, freezes really well. We keep it in the freezer. We just pull it out when we need it, but I highly recommend. It looks like at Aldi, their organic butter was about 5 cents cheaper per ounce. I don't think it was grass-fed, but let me tell you, you will not regret this purchase, something we buy time and time again from Azure. And I will link all these products in the description. Next up is cheese. So we buy this raw white cheddar, and then we buy it in 5-pound blocks, and then I freeze it and probably a pound together, and then I pull it out and I either shred it or slice it. It freezes really nice, and we're able to kind of buy in those larger quantities and always have it on hand when we need it. Now, there are not many comparisons to this. We get this at $5.94 a pound. Organic white cheddar at Aldi runs $7.70 a pound, and at Giant Eagle for the raw white cheddar, it is $13.98 a pound. So this definitely wins the price test. Moose likes cheese too. Okay, next up we have these oats. So we buy oats by 25 pounds. I keep in my pantry, I keep the 2-gallon lids up here, and downstairs I keep these larger 5-gallon totes. This also wins out in the price arena by a long shot. Oats are such a delicious and nutritious breakfast, but they're good to have on hand. I use these instead of breadcrumbs. You can use them in cookies. You'll find a lot of uses for them when you're using what you have on hand. So great value with the oats. Next is the flour. So the flour runs $1.13 a pound, which is cheaper than anywhere else. And not only is the flour cheaper, but when you're making your own bread products at home, it is so much more cost effective than buying bread at the store. Now that sounds like a daunting task. If you would have told me a year ago, 2 years ago, that I would be baking the majority of my bread products at home, I would tell you you're crazy. But if you get in the habit of it and get it into a routine when you're letting your bread rise, you can work it into your routine and have a much better quality bread, as well as much more cost effective. I was at Sam's Club recently and I bought a 2-pack loaf of bread, and I was amazed at the price. All right, next up, black beans. Since shopping from Azure, we definitely incorporate a lot more beans into our diet. So the black beans also were the most cost effective across all the different retailers. So these come out to $1.91 a pound. I do keep these in the basement kind of vacuum sealed and just keep a smaller portion up here on hand. I'll link my video down below where I talk a little bit more about how I preserve and make sure all these large quantities of food are staying fresh. Black beans are awesome to have on hand, not just for soups, but we make them as side dishes. They have a lot of protein and definitely a staple we've come to rely on. All right, next up we have this long grain white basmati rice. Again, compared to the other retailers, this organic variety is much more cost effective than the rest. Rice goes without saying, it is definitely a staple in our home and many others. Our meals usually consist of a starch, a carbohydrate, a vegetable, and a protein. So we always like to have rice on hand. It's definitely quick and easy, and we have really been enjoying this variety. We've bought this a few times. All right, finally, some honey. I don't know how much more honey I'll be buying. Hopefully my adventures in beekeeping go well. But for the time being, this Azure variety, this raw honey, is definitely a really good value, and it's so delicious. We buy it here in this 3-pound jar. They have lots of different sizes, but this also wins out in the price comparison. We're buying this for about $3.85 a pound. Vanilla. Now, the price of vanilla extract, I understand is very simple to make at home, definitely something I want to get into. But in the meantime, the price on this vanilla, and it is organic, is outstanding. You can see the cost comparison here. It beats out the other retailers, and it even beats out retailers with non-organic. So this is a great value. Stock up on these, $1.48 an ounce, but it's always nice to have vanilla on hand. I hate buying those little dinky bottles of vanilla. It barely gets you through, a few recipes. So it's definitely nice to have this on hand. Okay, next up we have the molasses. And, before the past year, I wasn't too much of a molasses user. This wasn't like an ingredient I kept on hand. But instead of buying brown sugar, I make my own brown sugar with some molasses and some sugar. And we found some other great uses and recipes for this since we've had it on hand. But again, this molasses beats out everybody else in the price comparison. It's about 30 cents an ounce, and it equips you to be able to make your own brown sugar at home rather than having to keep so much of that on hand. All right, now getting into some of the fun stuff. Popcorn is a favorite snack of mine. So we bought popping corn from Azure. You can obviously make it on the stovetop. I also have an air popper that goes in the microwave. So you're able to pop popcorn without oil. It makes it a really low calorie snack. So not only is this popping corn much more cost effective than the competitors, but if you compare this to bags of popcorn, it blows it out of the water. So this is it can be a healthy snack. I know I love salty snacks, so I like having this on hand, and keeping it and popping my own popcorn definitely saves a lot of money as well. Now, I know if you've watched any of my videos cooking, I love this Italian seasoning blend. I use it in almost everything. We get this for 56 cents an ounce, which is pretty much half the cost of anywhere else. It is such a great blend. It is nice and fragrant. It's delicious. So I highly recommend that. And from a cost perspective, it beats everybody else out as well. All right, finally, you see me lugging these big totes around all the time. These are great because these are food grade buckets, but these lids, let me show you. These Gamma lids, they keep things airtight, and they really preserve the food really well. When you're first getting started, having these tools, getting these tools to keep everything fresh can really cost a lot of money. The Gamma lids at Azure are by far the cheapest. They run for $7.86 a lid when you buy a 3-pack. Amazon has them for $10 a lid. Walmart has them for over $16 a lid. So Azure's definitely the best place for the lids. As you're getting started with all of this, just pick these up a few at a time in each order so that total doesn't get overwhelming, but I highly recommend these. We love these. They really keep the food nice for a long time. So that kind of rounds out my 13 most cost-effective staples from Azure Standard. I will link all the products below. We started incorporating these over the past year. We weren't one of those people that just started putting in really big Azure orders and spending, you know, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars at a time. We incorporated these in, and these are the things that we can rely on and definitely use. Not every day, but definitely every week. So you get your value out of these. I've done the work and the cost comparison for you, so I hope you check these out. If you have any other favorite Azure products, definitely post them below and let me know what I need to be checking out next. So we will see you back next time.